She cried out, "My stomach hurts so much." Until her millionaire dad rushed in at 3 a.m., the clock struck midnight, the air thick with shadows and secrets. In a mansion as grand as a king's castle, there was a sudden scream that shattered the silence. "My stomach hurts so much." It was Olivia, the only daughter of a billionaire tycoon. Waves of panic rushed through the house as she clutched her belly, writhing in pain. The moonlight spilled through the tall windows, illuminating her youthful face twisted in agony, eyes wide with fear. Her cry echoed off the marble walls, pleading for help when suddenly, the heavy oak doors burst open. Her father, Mr. McAllister, stormed in, his suit rumpled, hair tousled from sleep. He was a figure of power in the business world, but there was nothing powerful about the look on his face. Fear clouded his usual confident demeanor. "What's wrong, Liv?" he shouted, panic dripping from his voice like raindrops off a roof. The urgency in his eyes was undeniable as he dashed to her side, kneeling on the cool floor beside her. The weight of his countless lifeguard deals, poised under endless pressure to save faces in boardrooms, now collided with the desperation of fatherly love. As Olivia's moans filled the room, whispers flitted through the household staff who gathered at a distance, eyes wide, emotions surging. What could cause such pain? One murmured, skepticism tinged with concern. Just last week, she'd returned from a lavish vacation where she'd dined on delicacies few could even dream of. Had she eaten something dangerous? A rare delicacy turned deadly? Questions hung thick in the air, creating an electric tension that sparkled like the stars outside. "Please, tell me what you feel." Mr. McAllister's voice cracked, barely able to keep composure as he gently fixed Olivia's hair back from her sweaty forehead. But Olivia could hardly answer, a fear-filled gaze slipping past him as if she were searching for something beyond the walls of the room. And then, without warning, as they both leaned closer, a soft thud echoed from the house's depths, a sound that shouldn't be there at such an hour. What was making noise in the dark corners of their spacious home? Olivia's eyes widened further, reflecting sheer terror. Was there someone, or something else, lurking in the shadows? "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Just as Mr. McAllister prepared to call for an ambulance, Olivia's breathing calmed for a split second, revealing a glimmer of something chillingly familiar in her eyes. It was a look that shouldn't belong to a girl her age and knowing. "Dad, I think I know what's happening," she whispered, trembling hands clutching the edge of her bed as the thud grew louder, a rhythmic drum signaling an approaching tempest. What would that revelation be? An unimaginable truth, perhaps buried in the unseen darkness of their home? Mr. McAllister's heart raced. He could feel a cold sweat forming on his brow as Olivia's voice pierced through the tempest of his thoughts. "What do you mean, Liv?" he pressed, knowing that the unease curling in the pit of his stomach was more than just the frantic worry for his daughter. I think it's connected to what happened last week," Olivia whispered, her voice barely a breath. Mr. McAllister's chest tightened at her words. What could she possibly mean? His mind raced back to the trip, a luxurious escape to an exotic island, complete with lavish meals and stunning views. But hadn't everything seemed perfect? The memories felt tainted now, shrouded in turmoil. The thud echoed again, louder this time, like footsteps wandering the hallways of the mansion. The whispers from the staff outside grew sharper. The house, which had been a sanctuary, now felt like a cage where oppressive shadows crept at the edges. He glanced back at Olivia, whose gaze fixated on something that wasn't there, an invisible entity that seemed to gnaw at her sanity. "Did something happen while we were on vacation?" he asked, desperation creeping into his voice. Every second counted now. The air vibrated with an almost palpable tension as things that were once hidden threatened to surface. "Do you remember the man?" she suddenly screamed, the urgency slicing through the air like glass. "The one who watched us." He froze. A stranger had lingered at the edge of their fun, his presence unsettling yet unaddressed. Mr. McAllister brushed off the memory, convinced it was just paranoia. But what if it wasn't he? Panic surged through him as his thoughts tangled with grim possibilities. "Liv, focus." "What do you mean? What did he do?" "Nothing, at least not then," Olivia choked out, her expression twisting into something he couldn't bear to watch. "But he gave me this." She indicated a silver bracelet on her wrist, one he hadn't noticed before. "I thought it was a gift, a token from the island," but now her words trailed off into a silence that screamed with dread. The thud returned, this time accompanied by a faint shuffle, almost like someone dragging something across the floor. Mr. McAllister's nerves flared. He turned toward the dark corridor, where the sound was born. Shadows seemed to ripple and pulse along the walls, distorting reality. "Stay here. I'll check it out," he said, masking his fears with a shaky bravado. He rose to his feet, heart pounding, as Olivia grabbed his arm. "Don't. Please don't leave me." Mr. McAllister's protective instincts surged. He couldn't abandon her in her moment of desperation. Yet, something dark hung in the air, a weight pressing down on them both. "I won't be far," he promised, though it sounded hollow even to him. With every step toward the source of the noise, he felt an invisible tug, pulling him deeper into whatever mystery awaited them. The darkened house whispered secrets he wasn't ready to hear. The shadows loomed heavy, as if they had a heartbeat, echoing his own rising fear. The hallway stretched ahead, a narrow tunnel engulfed in darkness. Mr. McAllister swallowed hard, temporary courage shielding him from the growing sense of dread. "Hello," he called, his voice echoing back at him like a mocking laugh. Then, the thud came again, a loud bang that felt like it shook the very foundations. There was something there. Something real. His pulse quickened, and instinctively, he turned back, ready to race to Olivia's side. But a figure emerged from the shadows, lit only by the faint moonlight, causing his breath to hitch in his throat. "Dad?" Olivia's voice broke through the tense silence, laced with equal sadness and fear. "Who is that?" Mr. McAllister's eyes widened. The figure stepped into the light with a menacing smirk, one that felt far too familiar. What had he just stepped into? What was this lingering presence? It was only the beginning of a nightmare he'd never expected. Mr. McAllister's heart hammered in his chest as he took a shaky step back, his mouth dry. The figure was a ghost from the past, a nightmare come to life. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, his voice trembling despite his resolve. The figure smirked wider, the pale moonlight casting an unsettling glow on dark, hollow eyes. "Miss me, McAllister?" It slithered into the dim light, revealing features sharp enough to cut. It was Lucas, an old acquaintance who felt less like a friend and more like a wound that never fully healed. "What do you want?" Mr. McAllister spat, trying to draw strength from the thin air that suddenly felt thick with tension. Lucas took a small step forward, his grin unwavering. "Just came to see how you were settling into your new life. Heard you've had quite the vacation." His voice was smooth, like silk stretched over ice. Each word dripped with menace, revealing layers of mischief and malice. "Don't play games with me," Mr. McAllister growled, anxiety coursing through his veins. Behind him, he could sense Olivia's unease. She was trembling, silent, and vulnerable. "Whatever it is you're after, it ends here." "Oh, but we haven't even started." Lucas's eyes glinted with a dangerous light. It was as if he reveled in Mr. McAllister's growing fear. "That bracelet your daughter is wearing? It's more than just a trinket. What did you do to her?" Mr. McAllister roared, a protective instinct swelling in his throat, tightening around the words. "Relax. Olivia's fine for now." Lucas took another step, and Mr. McAllister felt as if he were being pulled closer toward an unseen abyss. But the island has a way of giving gifts. And sometimes those gifts come with strings attached. Stay away from her. Mr. McAllister's voice echoed, desperation cracking his tone like dry glass. Just then, Olivia gasped. Dad, it feels like it's tightening. She clutched her wrist, eyes darting between her father and Lucas. Her voice quivered with fear, a sound that twisted like a knife in Mr. McAllister's gut. Liv, just breathe. Focus on me. He shouted, instincts igniting like wildfire. He wanted to rush back and cradle her, meant to shield her from this malevolence. The bracelet seemed to pulse with a life of its own, vibrating against Olivia's skin, reacting to Lucas's presence. Ah, yes. The bond deepens. Lucas laughed, an unsettling sound that rang hollow through the air. Every connection has its price, my dear. And sometimes it plays out in ways you can't imagine. Suddenly, Olivia crumpled to the floor, her breath hitching with a choked gasp. Panic surged within Mr. McAllister as he fell to his knees beside her, his heart racing as he grasped her trembling body. Olivia. Dad, it hurts, please, she whispered, the tears in her eyes spelling out helplessness. Mr. McAllister could feel the warmth of fear washing over both of them, sealing them inside a moment that could shatter at any second. That's just the beginning. You see, all choices have consequences, and the choices you made under the sun came with dire repercussions, Lucas taunted, a cruel smirk still plastered on his face. Get away from her. Mr. McAllister felt rage bubble inside him, the kind that ignites sensibilities and speaks volumes against shadows more menacing than any nightmare. Just then, the lights flickered ominously, illuminating Lucas's face one last time before plunging them back into darkness. A sinister laughter filled the corridors, echoing like a promise of unraveling horrors. Let the games begin. As the shadows closed in and despair threatened to engulf him, Mr. McAllister reached for Olivia, determined to shield her from whatever darkness had come for them. But deep down, he knew that danger wasn't just at the door anymore. It was inside their home, lurking, waiting to strike again, and all the while, he couldn't shake off any certainty that this was only the start of the terror they would face. What other dark ties stretched back to that cursed island? What would they lose next? His hands trembled as he knelt beside Olivia, how her pale skin glistened with sweat, making it clear she was fighting something far more sinister than any fever. Her fingers curled around that cursed bracelet, the metal now radiating a faint, sickly glow. Mr. McAllister could feel his heart racing like it was trying to escape his chest. Olivia, stay with me. He urged, shaking her gently. Dad, it hurts and I can't. I can't breathe. Her words were muffled and strained, each syllable dragging from her like a whisper trapped underwater. The room felt smaller, the air thicker, and the darkness pressed against them, tight and suffocating. Lucas, what did you do? Mr. McAllister lunged towards the shadowy figure, but Lucas's laughter sliced through the night, sharp and piercing. You can't stop it. He sneered. The bond is forged, and now the consequences unfurl. With a quick movement, Lucas flicked his wrist, and the lights flickered again, revealing Olivia's wide eyes, filled with pain and fear, just before plunging them into darkness once more. In that moment, Mr. McAllister felt an icy grip of terror clutch his throat. He was adrift, careening through a nightmare with no anchor to hold on to. Olivia. His voice came out like a wounded animal, raw and desperate. He glanced around, searching for any hint of help, but the night seemed to swallow sound and hope alike. Dad, her voice trembled, each rasp sending another jolt of dread through him. It's too much. She gritted her teeth, and he could see the pulse racing in her neck, how her small body quaked against the cold floor. Fight it. He called out, clenching his fists so tightly his nails dug into his palms. The bracelet seemed to hum, a discordant melody that quelled her cries with increasingly despairing notes. Just then, a flickering light illuminated the room once more, this time revealing every shadow, every hidden fear. Olivia cradled her wrist, eyes wide with terror as he caught a glimpse of the bracelet. Swirling black tendrils danced just beneath the surface, as if something within it writhed and screamed but in silence. "Please. Don't leave me, Olivia." He choked out, uncertainty darkening his senses. A chill swept through the air, knotting his stomach in a tight grip. "Dad." "I see it," she gasped, her voice wavering as if straddling two worlds. "It's a face, in the shadows, please stop it." Her words wrapped around his heart, squeezing with each insistence. "Lucas!" he shouted, trying to challenge the malevolence creeping into the cracks of their home, "You can't do this to her." But Lucas only leaned closer, his features blending with the darkness. "Oh, McAllister, how naive you are. The shadows crave company, and your daughter has become a delightful guest." A scream built inside Mr. McAllister, but his body was frozen, the reality of Lucas's words sinking like stones in his chest. No, he couldn't lose her. He wouldn't. A vision of her laughing, carefree days flickered in his mind, stark against the horror unwrapping before him. "Live!" he cried, desperate to reach her, but the shadows were thickening, a shroud pulled tight around her. Suddenly, the room trembled, the ground vibrating underfoot. Mr. McAllister felt an overwhelming pull, as if the house itself was alive, fighting against the darkness that threatened to engulf them both. "Let her go!" he howled, fury rising from layers of fear and despair. And then, in an unexpected flash, the light surged brightly for a moment, enough to see Lucas falter, just for a heartbeat. Olivia gasped again, the bracelet twinkling, and the shadows recoiled slightly, as if in defeat. But without warning, the light flickered out once more, plunging them into a deeper abyss than before, and Mr. McAllister felt his hope slipping away like sand through his fingers. "Now," Lucas whispered, his voice low and lethal, "the real game begins." Would he still have time to save her? Or was the darkness already claiming what it desired? The darkness surged like a wave crashing onto the shore, suffocating and merciless. Mr. McAllister's heart hammered a frenetic beat, drowning out the silence that had enveloped them. He could feel Lucas's laughter echoing in his bones, a creeping dread curling around his heart. How had it come to this? "Stay with me, Olivia!" he screamed, voice cracking, desperation flooding his every thought. He pressed his palm to her forehead, feeling the heat radiating like a furnace. The cursed bracelet pulsated, each throb resonating with an eerie rhythm that seemed to sync with her own fading heartbeat. "Dad, it's digging," she gasped, her fingers clawing at the bracelet as if she could peel it from her flesh. "It won't let me go." Panic surged in her voice, spiraling into a crescendo of fear that sent chills up Mr. McAllister's spine. That he shifted closer, the cold floor biting into his knees. "Get it off. You have to focus, Liv. Think about the happy times, the park, the ice cream, anything." His mind raced, desperate to pull her away from the gripping tendrils of darkness. Lucas stepped forward, shadows coiling around him like a living shroud. "You think nostalgia can save her? The shadows thrive on despair, they will feast on your memories while they consume her." His eyes glinted with a dangerous amusement. Mr. McAllister felt a deep pang of realization. Olivia's laughter, her joy, it was a light that could illuminate this profound darkness, but the memories were also nothing but fragments. Everything inside him screamed to fight, but how could you combat a nightmare made manifest? "Please, Liv. Remember how you laughed at that silly monkey in the zoo? The way you danced in the rain?" His words came out as fiercely as he could muster, choking against the rising tide of hopelessness. The air grew heavy, the shadows beneath the flickering lights pressing tightly against him. He focused on Olivia's eyes, which were now darting in panic, fighting against something unseen, something that gripped her soul like an iron vice. "Dad!" she cried, her voice a shattering whisper. "I can't hold on much longer." It felt like the world had slowed to a crawl. Each moment stretched, pulling tighter on the seams of his heart. "I want to let you go. I refuse." He echoed back, his determination flaring into life as the darkness throbbed menacingly around them. With that, he reached out, a pulse of raw instinct guiding his hands to the bracelet. As he made contact, a sharp pain shot through him, electrifying as if he grasped a live wire. But in his mind, he saw her smile, a radiant beacon breaking through the thick night. "I'll do anything," he screamed into the void, pulling at the very essence of the bracelet, feeling it fight against his grip. The light flickered violently, illuminating the chaos surrounding them. "Fool!" Lucas shrieked, shoving through the shadows, trying to pull Mr. McAllister away, but Mr. McAllister's resolve solidified. The warmth of Olivia's small hand cradling his wrapped around his palm like a lifeline. He refused to let the shadows win. "This is not over," he roared, a deep fury igniting within him. Echoes of laughter rang in his ears as he tore at the edges of the bracelet, every ounce of love and protection pouring forth, pushing against the dark forces that twisted around them. In an instant, a blinding light erupted, engulfing the room. The shadows shrieked, contorting, retreating as if scorched by pure brightness. But just as swiftly as it came, a pulse of darkness surged back in retaliation, and Olivia's scream filled the air, piercing and raw. Then came the silence, thick and heavy, laden with uncertainty. "What have we done?" he breathed, panic clawing at his thoughts, and just then, as the light dimmed and shadows began creeping back, a chilling whisper curled through the air, "You've awakened something, worse." Mr. McAllister felt an icy tendril brush against his back, and he knew this wasn't over. What had they truly unleashed? The dimming of the light revealed a scene charged with tension. Mr. McAllister's heartbeat echoed in his ears, a metronome against the backdrop of encroaching darkness. Olivia's wide, helpless eyes drilled into his, sparkling with tears, pleading for salvation. Although the shadows momentarily retreated, he sensed something far more sinister hovering at the edges of their reality. "Live, hang on," he shouted, his voice trembling with a mix of fear and determination. He felt the darkness shifting, creeping along the walls, hunting, waiting. "I'll get you out of this." Every instinct screamed at him to remove the bracelet, yet he recognized that the very act of disentangling them from this horror could unleash consequences he was unprepared to face. The shadows lashed out again, coiling tighter, feeding off his hesitation. Lucas's laughter echoed once more, filling the room with a sickening mockery. "You know nothing of what you've awakened," he said, stepping forward, shadows swirling at his feet. "This world has roots in despair. You think joy will repel this darkness? You are more mistaken than you realize." "Shut up," Mr. McAllister growled, anger flaring to life. But fear gnawed at him. What had they unleashed? All those nights, all those years, they had been oblivious to the cave of horrors hidden beneath the surface. The bracelet, it had malignant power woven through its threads, and now Olivia was caught in the weave of it all. "Focus, live. Think of the happiest moment of your life." He felt desperation clawing at his throat as he pleaded. "Please." Her body twisted, as if she were wrestling against invisible chains, and agony etched across her features. I see it. But it's slipping away." Her words came as strained whispers. "Hold on to it," he urged, clutching her hands tighter. "Picture it. Remember when we went to the beach? The sun, the laughter, you have to believe it's real." Just when it seemed hope might flicker, sharp jolts of pain shot through her, making her gasp. The bracelet seemed to pulse with an angry energy that threatened to tear her soul apart. "Let her go," Mr. McAllister roared, fury mingling with fear in a cocktail potent enough to shake the very foundation of his resolve. He pulled against the bracelet, feeling the sting of electric energy coursing through him. The air thickened, curling around him like a serpent. Olivia crumbled further, eyes rolling back, and he realized she was losing her connection to reality. "Live!" he cried, feeling the pull of despair spiral into a vortex, dragging him with it. Suddenly, sharp laughter erupted from Lucas, cutting through the chaos like glass shattering. "It's too late for her. You think you can just rip her from the darkness? You've only set loose the shadows. Feel their hunger, watch them feast. The shadows thickened, swirling faster, and amidst the darkness, shapes began to emerge, twisted figures lurking just beyond the edge of light, their eyes glinting with wicked hunger. The room shifted, blurring the lines of his reality. The floor trembled beneath them, resonating with sinister energy. "Stop!" Mr. McAllister yelled, each word laced with desperation. "I want to let you take her." Yet as he fought against the darkness, the weight of it pressed down on him, thick and suffocating. Olivia's face twisted in anguish, each breath a battle against an invisible foe. He could feel her slipping, the warmth of her hand growing cold against his. With a final, shattering scream, she gasped, "Dad! I can't." And with that utterance, darkness flooded in with renewed ferocity. It engulfed them, wrapping its tendrils around his throat, tightening until he was gasping for air. All he could think of was a world without Olivia, of his daughter being consumed forever. That he saw a fleeting vision of her smile, bright and full of life. "Hold on, Liv. We can fight this." Mr. McAllister bellowed, each syllable a lifeline thrown into an abyss, but as shadows encroached, a new figure appeared, a silhouette against the swirling storm. An icy chill ran down his spine. Who was this newcomer? He felt trapped. Ensnared in a nightmare, the stakes climbing higher with each passing second. Would they find salvation? Or were they stepping straight into greater despair? As the swirling shadows thickened, the silhouette began to step forward, its form becoming clearer amidst the chaos. Mr. McAllister's heart raced with fear and uncertainty. Who was this figure? Was it friend or foe? The newcomer was cloaked not in darkness, but a shimmering light that seemed to cut through the shadows encircling Olivia. "Let her go," the figure commanded, voice echoing off the walls in a hauntingly familiar tone. Mr. McAllister squinted, recognition dawning with a shuddering wave of hope. It was his mother, the woman he had thought lost in the fabric of time, a ghost from his past. "What?" he gasped, disbelief contorting his features. "Mom. How can this be?" A smile flickered across her lips, but it was quickly replaced by urgency. "You don't have time for questions. The bracelet, its power is corrupting everything it touches." She reached out, the light radiating from her fingers, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. "Mom." Olivia's voice, weak and trembling, echoed through the shadows. "Help me. Hold on," she shouted, her tone sharp yet tender. "Remember the day we went camping? The laughter, the stars, the stories by the fire?" Mr. McAllister could see Olivia straining against the darkness, each gasp a new wave of pain. "Liv, remember the camping trip. Focus on it," he urged, his own heart pounding with desperate hope. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, as if repelled by the warmth of the memories. Mr. McAllister felt a surge of energy coursing through him, igniting a flame of courage deep within. He joined his mother, reaching toward Olivia with both hands outstretched. "Think of who you love, Liv. Think of me. Think of Mom," he bellowed, refusing to yield to despair. As Olivia's eyes widened, a flicker of recognition sparked in her gaze. The memories came flooding back, the warmth of hugs, the laughter at the beach, the fire crackling under the stars. The shadows, furious at being challenged, lashed out violently, their shrieks cutting through the air like knives. "No!" Lucas screamed from the darkness, his voice cracking. "You can't break free. This is where you belong." But it was too late. Olivia was summoning her strength, the love she held for her family forming a barrier against the darkness. "You want to take me?" she screamed, resilient fire igniting in her eyes. The shadows contorted, briefly recoiling as if burned by the light of her will, and then, with a defiant shout, Olivia began to break free. The bracelet glowed with a searing brilliance, illuminating the entire room, dissolving shadows like morning mist under the sun. Mr. McAllister felt the weight lift, felt Olivia's hand squeeze his with newfound strength. "Hold on!" his mother yelled, steadying them against the tempest swirling around them. This isn't over yet, the power they hold is deeper. You must break the bind. But before they could act, the room shook with tremors, a deep rumble that sent them sprawling. A shadowy whirlpool formed in the center, pulling at everything, threatening to drag them back into its cold embrace. Live! We can't let it take you again. Mr. McAllister shouted, panic clawing at his throat. As darkness clamored around them, everything hung in the balance. They were on the precipice of oblivion while trying to escape the very chains that bound them. Together! Olivia shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. We have to focus together. But just as they unified their strength, a blinding flash rippled through the shadows, and the ominous laughter of Lucas morphed into a furious roar. Mr. McAllister's mind raced, caught in a whirlwind of emotion and fear, as the shadows surged forward, ready to engulf them once more. Would their combined love be enough to shatter the darkness? Or would it only lead them deeper into despair? In that tempest of shadow and light, everything felt surreal. Time blurred around them, stretching and contracting like a heartbeat. Mr. McAllister watched as his mother's radiant presence dimmed against the advancing shadows, the whirlpool growing more powerful with every passing moment. Couldn't he allow it to pull Olivia back into darkness? Keep focusing. He screamed, words fighting to escape his tight throat. Think about the good times. All the love we share. The shadows recoiled slightly, but their hold was not relinquished. Lucas's laughter rang out again, a chilling sound that twisted deep into Mr. McAllister's gut, igniting dread. It echoed through the cold, damp space, challenging their collective spirit. You think love can save you? Lucas taunted, his voice not just mocking but almost amused. Love is nothing against the weight of betrayal. You should know better. Betrayal? Olivia shouted back, her voice cracking through the din. What do you know about love? Mr. McAllister could feel the emotional chains snap as Olivia's strength surged. The dance of light and dark around them twisted into a violent storm, and in that chaos, he saw her resilient spirit flickering like a candle in the wind. Then he saw it, the bracelet, gleaming now with an intensity that matched the chaos all around them. Olivia! He shouted, pointing at it. That's the key. We need to break its hold together. Can you reach it? She gasped, eyes filled with fierce determination, the shadows clasped around her, visceral tendrils reaching out like grasping claws. They were relentless, wrapping tightly around her with a suffocating grip. I will. Mr. McAllister felt strength flooding through him, fed by the memory of his mother's laughter, Olivia's smile. He focused with everything he had, willing the shadows to part as he advanced toward the radiant bracelet. Suddenly, a flash of light erupted from Olivia, her energy piercing through the dark. We won't back down. Not now. She cried, her voice fierce and unwavering. As the shadows momentarily shattered, he dove deeper into the clearing before him. He extended his hand, fingertips brushing against the bracelet's surface. In that instant, a shockwave of energy surged through him, sending a jolt of pain up his arm. The darkness screeched, and he felt the power of the bracelet thrumming beneath his skin. No! No! Lucas shouted, terror sifting through his cynicism. You can't take it. It belongs to me. I won't let you. But it was too late. Mr. McAllister felt the connection between him and Olivia tighten, fueling the pulse of power radiating from the bracelet. Together, they shared a moment, an understanding that transcended even the noise of shadow and light. Now. On 3. 1, 2, 3. With a united cry, they pulled. The bracelet, glowing brighter than ever before, surged through their outstretched hands, and then the shadows wailed, the vortex around them imploding in a colossal explosion of sound and fury. Light engulfed the room, blinding and pure. Everything seemed to melt away. And as the darkness blinked out like a snuffed-out candle, Mr. McAllister felt a head-spinning rush, a whirl of memory and images flooding into him. He gasped for breath, his lungs fighting against the void that felt like they were expanding too quickly. Are we free?" He stammered, looking frantically at both Olivia and his mother. Just then, remnants of shadows slithered at their feet, whispering despair. "This isn't over." Lucas's voice rang out, echoing through the void. "You think you've won? The true power of the bracelet is yet to be revealed." Before he could grasp another breath, a shadow darted toward his mother, curling around her feet with a sinister grip. "No!" he cried out, his heart racing once more. As the darkness clung around her, Mr. McAllister's chest tightened. A new fight was only just beginning. Would they truly escape, or was he losing another part of his family? Panic flooded through him as he lunged forward, ready to face the unknown forces gathering against them. What deeper mysteries awaited them now that darkness had revealed its true colors? What horrors lingered in the silence? The world snapped sharply back into focus as the blinding light faded, replaced by a thick fog of unease. The remnants of the shadows writhed like serpents at their feet, hungry and relentless. The air was heavy and cold, crackling with an energy that only heightened Mr. McAllister's dread. He felt it before he saw it, a shiver coursing through him, the unmistakable sensation of being watched. He turned, every muscle in his body taut with anticipation. There, at the edge of the darkened room, shadows pooled like spilled ink, swirling together to form a figure, tall and ominous. It was Lucas. His eyes glowed with malevolence, a smirk tugging at his lips. "Welcome back, my friends," Lucas hissed, the atmosphere thick with malice. "Did you think you could banish me so easily? The bracelet may have held its power, but there are deeper forces at play." Mr. McAllister felt a chill run down his spine. The words echoed in his mind, nagging at him the true power of the bracelet. What did Lucas mean? "Olivia!" he cried, spinning back toward her, but his heart sank. She was struggling against the tendrils of shadow, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. The darkness coiled tightly around her, and Mr. McAllister's resolve hardened. He couldn't lose her, not again. "Fight it!" he shouted, urging her on, but the shadows pulsed, dragging her deeper into despair. "You're stronger than this." I can't." Olivia gasped, her voice barely a whisper as she fought against the suffocating grip. "They're too strong." "No." He took a step forward, every inch of him screaming to protect her. He could feel the shadows tugging at him as well, threatening to pull him under. His focus narrowed. It was time to confront Lucas directly. "You won't take her," he yelled, feeling a surge of defiance. "You've had your fun. This ends now." Lucas stepped forward, imbuing his words with a chilling confidence. "You think you can stand against me? This is only the beginning. The bracelet was a mere distraction, it's my connection to the darkness that truly holds the power." Mr. McAllister's heart sank. He could feel the energy emitting from Olivia, the bracelet tied to them both, yet Lucas knew something they didn't. Fear gnawed at him like a rabbit caught in a snare. "What do you want?" Olivia shouted, her strength wavering. "Why won't you just let us go?" "Because I thrive on your pain," Lucas replied, his voice a hypnotic whisper. "And the deeper the despair, the stronger the shadows become. I'll consume your love, it's my only path to true power." With that, the shadows flared violently, engulfing the room. Mr. McAllister felt the pressure closing in, a suffocating weight pressing against him. They were losing ground. A moment of fear erupted in him. What if they couldn't fight back? "Remember the love!" he yelled, desperation lacing his voice, appealing to Olivia's spirit. "We can break this. Together." Suddenly, Olivia's eyes blazed with a flicker of defiance, and he saw the tiniest wisp of light gleam in her grasp. She was gathering herself, summoning everything they held dear. The fleeting memories of laughter, of sunny afternoons, and shared dreams cascaded inside him, infusing him with strength. "Let us do it!" Olivia shouted, her voice steadying. "Not just for us, for everyone who's suffered. We want to let you win." As their hands reached for one another, the shadows writhed in fury, sensing their renewed determination. Tightening their bond, they formed an unbreakable circle, a living beacon against the encroaching darkness. Lucas screeched, a high-pitched wail as he stumbled back, startled. "No. You can't. This isn't how it's supposed to end." But Mr. McAllister knew the shadows could no longer contain them. They were rising together now, a force that even darkness couldn't smother forever. "We will be free," he declared, their combined energy radiating outward like a shockwave. But just when it felt like victory was within reach, another piercing scream tore through the stillness, a shriek that sent tremors deep into his chest. "Lucas!" A voice cried out, filled with desperation. And in that heartbeat, the shadows recoiled, shifting again. Mr. McAllister felt a shiver of doubt creep in. Who was that? Was there more to Lucas's darkness than they knew? And what price would they pay to truly break free? The room crackled with tension, shadows twisting like living creatures, restless and hungry. Mr. McAllister held Olivia's hand tightly, grounding himself in their bond as he faced the swirling darkness. He could feel the weight of fear pulling at him, attempting to tear them apart. "Don't let go," he shouted, determination surging through him. Olivia's face was tense, yet an ember of resolve flickered in her eyes. Their connection pulsed, intertwining their energies into a shield against the advancing shadows. "Together," she echoed fiercely, galvanizing their spirit. "Think of every moment we've shared," Mr. McAllister urged. "From the beach to the zoo, each laugh, each hug. Those are our shields." And as if answering his call, memories cascaded through the air, illuminating their surroundings with bursts of light. Images of sun-filled days at the beach, backyard barbecues, and peals of laughter formed a bulwark around them. The shadows shrieked, their twisted forms thrashing against the illuminated barrier. "Keep going. Push them back," Mr. McAllister encouraged. "Live. Whenever you felt scared, who held you? When did you feel the happiest?" he asked, desperately seeking strength in her memory. "Dad. When we danced in the rain," she shouted, voice shimmering with power. And suddenly, the energy shifted. The shadows recoiled as if burned by the declaration, retreating slightly, realizing they had underestimated the light born from their love. But Lucas's laugh cut through the remnants of hope. "You think this little game of memories can break my hold?" he taunted, stepping further into the light, becoming more disturbing with each inch. "You're playing into my hands. Every piece of joy only fuels the chaos." Mr. McAllister steeled his gaze. "Despair may have forged a bond with you, but love is stronger," he yelled back. "You will not take what we cherish. We will stand as one." As if propelled by his declaration, the energy around them surged. Olivia closed her eyes, focusing again and sealing herself with warmth and strength. She pictured their late-night movie marathons and camping trips, when they would stay up sharing secrets under a star-specked sky. "Yes," she cried. "We choose to love despite the darkness. We choose hope." A radiant light burst from their clasped hands, enveloping the chamber in warmth. The shadows bellowed, but they couldn't withstand the force of unified love and memories. It was too potent, too illuminating. "More!" Mr. McAllister roared, bolstered by the visions now flooding his mind, of every hug, every shared joy they had ever experienced. That in unison, they released their hearts, memories spilling forth like a dam breaking loose. Laughter echoed through the shadows, swirling and solidifying into a palpable presence that danced among them. Suddenly, Olivia's eyes widened, her expression transforming into one of fierce determination. "Together," she commanded. "Together," he repeated, raising their now luminescent clasped hands in defiance. A final surge of light erupted like a sunrise breaking the horizon, blinding them in its brilliance. It surged forward, a wave of pure love washing over the shadows, scattering their darkness to the edges of the room. "No!" Lucas screamed, his voice dissolving into the cacophony of laughter and joy emitted from the brilliance. Recognizing defeat, Lucas thrashed but began to dissipate into the very shadows he commanded, his wild eyes filled with rage. "Goodbye, Lucas!" Olivia shouted as the shadows engulfed him, finally erasing him from their sanctuary. In the wake of his disappearance, a soft glow emerged, filling the once oppressive darkness with warmth, and then they were standing in the aftermath, the room softly illuminated, shadows retreating, leaving only echoes of despair fading into the depths behind them. Did we win?" Olivia gasped, tears of relief glimmering in her eyes. "Demar." McAllister scooped her into his arms, holding her tightly as if afraid she might disappear again. "Yes, Liv. Yes, we did," he breathed. They shared a moment of silence, processing the weight of what they had survived. "It's over," Olivia whispered, voice trembling, looking around at the remnants of their battle. "For now," he replied, tipping her chin up, wrapping her in the warmth of their comfort, but deep down, beneath the radiance that surrounded them, a shadow flickered in the corner of his mind, a reminder that darkness sometimes lingers. "Let us go home," he said finally, holding her hand as they walked toward the door, leaving the reminders of fear behind them. As dawn broke outside, a new light filled their lives, imbued with hope washed of the past. Together they would face whatever came next stronger, unyielding, and wrapped in the love that had brought them through the darkest night. "You are my light, Liv," he said softly. "And I'll always protect that light." With laughter painting their world in color, they left the unshackled darkness behind, stepping into a new beginning. "Now, before you close this chapter and dive into the next adventure, I need you to do something important. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are coming your way. Smash that like button to help feed the algorithm and show your support. Don't wait even one more second, flood the comments with your thoughts and theories about the ending. And please share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything, and together, let us keep the story rolling.